Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Generations Apart. I'm Jay.
And I'm Robbie.
And on today's episode, we are going to show ourselves up as we discuss the nominees and predict the winners of the Game Awards 2023. Before we get into that though, Robbie, what's new with you?
What's new with me this week? So I've seen quite a cool story that I wanted to chat to you about because it's another story, a bit about Apple and a bit about Android and the rivalry between the two. And it's a story you've probably seen as well. We both follow Marques Brownlee, so you might have seen the video that you posted recently about it. But you know the historic battle between the green bubble and the blue bubble. I think we might have spoken about this on previous episode, and I didn't think you...
We did. I didn't know anything about it.
You didn't know it was like a
me.
big thing. This is how heavily embedded in the Apple ecosystem you are. You don't even know the rivalry. But essentially...
I don't see many green bubbles on my phone, to be honest.
Well, that's the issue. You're too locked in.
I only socialise with Apple people. I'm joking.
Yeah. See, it's already infecting me. I've been convinced as well. It's just I'm in your sphere now. Look how that's happened. But essentially, the rivalry is... it's all based on iMessage. So Apple's iMessage offering is only available to Apple phones, iPhones. And so if you receive a message from an Android phone in iMessage, it comes up as this, shameful green bubble, as if it's like really trying to point out that you are not one of us. And it's been this big rivalry for many years. Many other manufacturers asking for Apple to open up iMessage as a messaging service so that others can message in and still be part of it. Having been on the Android side, I have been frustrated with it and not being able to be part of group chats and things like that there in iMessage. And I have some staunch Apple fan friends, Jay, who may not invite people to...
When we first started doing this, you were an Android user and I used WhatsApp just for you.
You did. That, in my experience, people who are really into Apple refuse to use other services because iMessage is so good.
I did for a long time, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was through brute force that I ended up using WhatsApp.
Yeah. So, interesting story, development that has come out recently is, have you heard of the Nothing phone?
I have.
So it's this funky new phone. It's an Android phone. I believe the CEO of the company used to work at OnePlus. Was one of the designers and CEOs there. And he span off his own company called Nothing and developed these Nothing phones that are Android phones. Their unique feature, they look a lot like iPhones, other than the back of the phone that has these unique lights that flash up in different patterns when you get called. It's quite a cool looking device. And the other thing that it's is the Nothing aesthetic is a lot of their tech is see-through. So you can see through the back of the phone to see some of the internals. And it's the same with their headphones. They've got similar vibes to that in that they're see-through. But anyway, Nothing have released a new app called the Chat app. Is it the Chat app? Oh, they've released I think it's called Nothing Chat, sorry. Called Nothing Chat. And this app allows you to send messages properly through to iMessage. And the way it does that is controversial, but essentially it allows you to use iMessage on an Android phone, but it is exclusive to Nothing. So kind of one walled garden.
Really solving the problem then.
Yeah, one walled garden to another. But it's caused a bit of a stir because it's obviously taken a bit of an attack at the green bubble, blue bubble war. But yeah, it's controversial because the way that it works is essentially there's a server farm that Nothing own that have a bunch of iMacs sitting on there, and as you send the message, it goes through an iMac and then connects the iMac to your Apple account, and then sends it from the iMac through iMessage. So it's controversial because you're logged into your Apple ID on an iMac somewhere, or a MacBook, or whatever it is in the server farm, in some unknown location. That
I'm sure Apple are thrilled about this.
Yeah, so it's one of these things. I think that was so when Marques Brownlee did his video on it, he was surprised that it wasn't like immediately shut down. But to be honest, Apple, the response was basically Apple's been hit with so many anti-competition things recently that the feeling is that there's not very much that they can do about this at the moment, or they don't want to be seen as going too hard on the smaller startup company, nothing, to stamp out the competition, as it could be used as ammo for any future anti-competition.
There's a definite security problem there, though, with what
huge security problem
they're doing. So surely even from that angle, it's not anti-competition. It's, hey, you're compromising our Apple users' security.
It's more of a user thing than an Apple thing, though, I think. So
yeah, but it's their Apple user accounts being put on, so they're compromising the Apple users' security. But surely that's an Apple problem. I don't know. I don't care.
As long as they consent to it, I don't think they can do anything about it, right?
Not much you can do about it. Random.
But yeah, how crazy is that?
Yeah, it's weird because it's, I guess is it clever? Maybe it's clever, but it's also not solving the problem. It's just adding a few new users from, like you said, a different walled garden into the bigger walled garden.
Yeah.
It's sneaking a few users in, but it's not solving the problem for everyone. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Thought it was a cool story. Thought you'd be interested as well because it's Apple. I know you're not too on one side or the other with the green versus blue bubble, but it's a heated debate.
It's frustrating when I go to text someone and it comes up green and I think, can't send them half the stuff that I can send all of my iPhone friends. But like I said, normally in those situations, we just hop over to WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
anyway.
I did see another update actually that was kind of a separate story. There's a standard of texting, some kind of technology standard. I don't actually know too much about it, but essentially Apple might be adopting that standard, which allows you to better send MMS or MMS alternative messages to other devices as well. I think it's a standard that Google operate and use on their Android devices as well, of course. So that's another thing that might be coming as well.
So I will tell you a little bit about my what's new, or what interested me this week, and it's on topic. Yes. I don't know why, I can't help myself. I always end up picking things that are sort of on topic. So we're talking about the Game Awards today, and this is linked to the Game Awards. There was an announcement from the Game Awards on Twitter, or X, whichever you prefer, which talks about Game Awards for the first time coming to Fortnite. So not only is there a unique category specifically for the Fortnite Game Awards, which is the best user-created Fortnite island of the year, an illustrious prize, you can collect trophies, get XP boosts, and presumably, although I'm a little unclear on exactly what you can do, I think you can vote more broadly on the other categories through Fortnite, using your Fortnite avatar and your Fortnite account. So they've created a Fortnite island for the Game Awards that's kind of all futuristic, kind of rocks and podiums and lights, and looks like some sort of future space Halo-like environment. And then there's some mini games to be done there. Like I said, you can vote for your favourites. But I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was quite interesting. And to me, I know that the Fortnite gets a lot of stick, but the experiences they're bringing to Fortnite really do lean into the metaverse and this idea of
that's just what I was
blurring
thinking.
the lines between like physical and digital. And I really like that. So yeah, big sort of fan and very much interested in the metaverse. So I thought it was clever. I know a lot of people sigh when you say Fortnite anything, and even I sighed when I saw M&M's coming to Fortnite this week. I thought, who cares? But this is different. This is taking something that would normally be a passive experience and making it interactive, which I quite liked.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. And that was my first thought about this, is that it reminds me of some kind of virtual metaverse hosted event. But yeah, in game, which is really cool. And it's not VR related at all, is it? It's just playing the game and just running
it's just
around.
Fortnite, just vanilla Fortnite. So this is like a unique Game Awards Island experience. I assume it's non-combative. They're not showing any combat. So I don't know if anyone's not played it. There's a whole new, it's not even that new now, a whole new creator platform for Fortnite. We talked about this several episodes ago now, which basically allows you to go into combative or non-combative worlds and do social things. So if anyone who's familiar with Ready Player One, the notion in that book, in that story, is of virtual worlds that we all kind of live in through the Oasis, some which are combat heavy and some that are safe zones, effectively, where no combat can take place. And that's very much what Fortnite now has. in its islands concept. You can build islands that are for sort of traditional battle royale or other styles of sort of shooting combat. We tried a few out once on stream a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you can also build these environments which are not meant for combat and they're meant for social, different kinds of activities. My assumption is that's what this is. Although
Very cool.
must admit, I haven't taken a look.
Hence the Island of the Year then, I guess, if people are designing their own islands and pushing them up there.
Yeah, well, that whole creator thing's been going for quite a while now, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't think that, probably for reasons that we've just articulated, you can't vote on the best Fortnite island outside of the Fortnite Game Awards experience.
Right.
It's not an option to vote on the website.
Okay. So is it even a category in the official Game Awards, or is it just a Fortnite?
It is, but only through Fortnite.
Oh.
So I assume it will be announced on the night at the awards, or perhaps through the Fortnite experience on the evening, because it's worth mentioning we aren't going to go through every category today, because it would be boring for a start, and there's loads. We will have nothing to input on, especially any of the esports categories. I'm sure esports is brilliant. I think I'm too long in the tooth for it. I'm not in that world. So, there's going to be categories we know nothing about, and some or many of these games we'll talk about, we've either played sparingly or not at all. So we're not basing this on our experience, and these aren't our choices. They're our predictions. So what we're thinking about is how might the vote go and why we think the vote might go that way. Yeah. So wanted to clear that up straight away. And I thought before we get into any of the categories, it might be worth just understanding, and perhaps, Robbie, for your benefit, and I'll be honest, my own, how these nominations are selected in the first place and how the winners are then determined.
Okay.
Because it's a bit different. So this is straight from the website. So I'm going to read it word for word. Nominees for most categories of the Game Awards are chosen by international juries of over 100 global media and influencer outlets, selected for their history of critical video game evaluation. Specialised juries also convene for other categories, including esports, accessibility, and best adaptation. Each voting outlet completes a confidential, unranked ballot based on the collective and diverse opinion of its entire editorial staff, listing out its top 5 choices in each category. Ballots are tabulated, and the 5 games that appear on the most ballots are put forth as nominees. In the event of a tie, 6 or more nominees will be announced in a category. It says the Game Awards producer Jeff Keighley is not a member of the jury and does not vote on the nominees or winners. Similarly, the Game Awards Advisory Board has no involvement in the awards process and learns of the results at the same time as the general public. So that's how nominees are selected. How are the winners selected? So winners are determined by a blended vote between the voting jury, 90%, and a public fan voting, 10%. Fans can vote for their favourite games on the GameAwards.com and the Discord server. And if you're interested in China, fans can vote on the winners via Bilibili, whatever that is, WeChat, and other platforms. Fan voting closes on Wednesday, December 6th at 6 p.m.
Interesting weighting between the juror and the public vote. 90 to 10.
It's not uncommon. Yeah, it's not uncommon when... so there is. I didn't copy and paste this typically. I did for notes. There is a section on the website that explains why they do that, and it's basically for a number of reasons. One is because a lot of voters may not have access to multiple consoles to have experienced all the games in a category.
Yeah.
And therefore you might get people just voting for the one that they have played or the one that they want to sort of raise up. So I think that's the main reason that they do it. And the jury obviously is sort of picked based on sort of expertise across the board, theoretically. So I think it gives you a chance to influence it, but ultimately, the awards are basically selected by the jury, aren't they? 10% is not bad. I don't know how many people are in the jury. It doesn't specify. I think you can find out who the jury is through the website again. But it's interesting just to kind of understand how that's put together, because when we're going through these categories, I suppose what we don't want to do is get sucked into the fan furore, which is the fan favourite, because actually that has probably got little bearing on the overall result.
Very true. Good point. Interesting.
So we have selected, I think, somewhere in the region of about half, maybe slightly less than half of the categories that are on offer. We're going to talk about them. We'll make our prediction. Why not have a go along with us? if you want to drop your ideas down in the chat or the comments, you can always look back on them then to see when the awards are announced whether you were right and whether you did better than us.
How hilariously wrong we'll be. Yeah,
we will be hilariously wrong. And it's difficult because, again, your own biases will creep in, the things that you know or you think you know, what you've read. You're trying to predict other people's responses here based on, in some instances, either your own personal experience, if you had one, or if you haven't had one, just like media reception. So, we're just going to have a chat about it. It's just for fun, but feel free to play along as we go. So, Robbie, you have control of the browser tabs as we've selected the category. So where do you want to go first?
Why don't we start with, we'll go in the list order. So we've got best game direction first. So
we'll say we're going to finish with Game of the Year, aren't we? The absolute Game of the Year we'll finish.
Yes, yeah. So this best game direction is awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. That's the definition of the category. So in the category we have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There's some strong ones in there. Some real strong ones.
Well, it's been said this year, is this the best year for gaming ever? There's arguments being made for it because it has just been one banger after another this year. Yeah. I mean, even Alan Wake 2, a month ago, no one was talking about Alan Wake 2 being a contender. It's come out, the reception's been incredible. Baldur's Gate 3, start of the year, no one's talking about that as Game of the Year. And interestingly, what's missing, and I think this is going to be a trend we'll spot, I saw an article, I don't think there's many Xbox titles in any of these awards.
Really?
Mm-mm. So in the Game of the Year, there's no Xbox title. So when you consider this year, we had Starfield. It's not really anywhere to be seen. Forza, the new Forza, isn't anywhere to be seen. So Game of the Year, I don't think there's any Xbox at all. We may see one or two throughout, and we'll try and call that out. But that's very interesting, isn't it? That no Xbox exclusives, a handful across platforms. So I think Alan Wake 2's on Xbox. Yeah. Baldur's Gate will be, but it's not yet. The other three, obviously, are Sony or Nintendo exclusives. Yeah. So this is a really interesting one, isn't it? Best game direction. So what was the description again on that one? Could you just read that out again?
Sure. It was awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Marvel Spider-Man 2 is absolutely incredible as a game. Direction and storyline and things like that. Yeah, I've heard very, very good things. But I saw a bunch of backstory around Baldur's Gate and how that was created as a game, and how I believe that they completely pivoted the design of the game partway through to make the city way more detailed than they were originally planning. So I think the development took a little bit longer, but apparently the detail in the city from all the characters to all of just the little details within that city is supposed to be absolutely incredible. So I don't know, it's a tough one.
This is a really hard first category to start with because there's arguments on all of them. So like Alan Wake 2, I haven't not played for transparency. Probably won't. I'm not a big horror fan. I got about halfway through Alan Wake 1, thought it was quite cool, never finished it. But 2, from what I've heard, is supposed to be really interesting. The way that they tell the story, the way that the gameplay elements have been weaved in. I think that could be a contender. Well, of course, they're all contenders, but I think that could be a strong contender. I've got to think Baldur's Gate's up there because, people are calling it the best RPG ever made.
Yep.
I'm not sure Spider-Man or Mario warrant best game direction. Because if you're talking about creativity and innovation, what are those games doing differently, like radically differently from their predecessors? So I don't know, is innovation something that is just done in isolation within a year, or is it compared back to previous years? Because Spider-Man 2 is, from what I've played of it, very, very good, but it's kind of leveling up Spider-Man and Miles Morales, the two games previously, and going a little bit harder, a little bit bigger. Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, Mario Wonder, I've played, but only with the kids, sparingly again. That's a game that it's done some clever things. It's definitely moved Mario forward. I mean, how innovative or creative? I mean,
is it not that different? Not different enough.
I don't know. I mean, who knows what the jury will go for? Not to me. And Zelda is another interesting one because that in itself is the first kind of Zelda sequel, true sequel to Zelda. But I know that the gameplay mechanics themselves were highly innovative. So what are they measuring? What are they looking at? I think that's a really difficult one. I would probably go Baldur's Gate as a guess. Again, I have not played Baldur's Gate. I have downloaded it. I do own it. It's going to be a time sink when I start it. But I would have thought, just based on everything I've heard, Baldur's Gate might win this one.
Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate is going to win as well. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I know how much Spider-Man's been talked about, but yeah, you're right. I think of the direction and the innovation and the newness, I guess, within the game. I'm not sure how new it is.
I mean, Spider-Man, they're Insomniac have really bad luck when they release their big Spider-Man games because Spider-Man 1, or Amazing, whatever it's called, Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, it released, I think it was either the same year as God of War, or it was another title that it had that not come out, and it basically cleaned house. Spider-Man would have almost certainly won something, but it ended up winning nothing. It just got trounced. It might have even been Elden Ring. I can't remember.
Oh, right.
But it just got absolutely trounced. And won nothing in the end. Horizon Zero Dawn has fallen foul of that before as well, where it's come out, been well received, but has come out in the same year as something else that's just taken over, dominated all of the awards. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these games pick up, but I've got to feel that best game direction goes Baldur's Gate's way.
There you go. Especially
because so much of that game is down to player's choice, but even when and there's so many dynamic routes you could take that they have to think. If you think about how they direct that, you've got to be able to tie all those decisions back into a core narrative and make that work. Yeah. And be compelling every time, regardless of your choices.
Yeah.
That in itself is a hell of a challenge. Yeah. So I'm talking myself into it, but I think Baldur's Gate.
You're just getting yourself more and more excited to play what's just sat
waiting. I'm really excited to play it eventually.
There you go.
It'll be in retirement. The way I'm going. Okay, so best game direction, we're giving to Baldur's Gate 3 then.
Yeah.
We think.
Yeah.
We think. We're not giving anything, we think.
Well, it's what we would award. We had the choice.
Yeah. Okay, then.
As gaming tech influencers that we are, part of the jury.
That's it, yeah. I don't know where our invite was. We must have missed it.
I know.
What's the next award?
I think I'm going to skip the list a little bit and go to the best VR and AR game.
Okay.
Because we talk about VR and AR an awful lot on the podcast, both games and also practical use cases as well. So let me read the category: best VR AR for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. So it's platform agnostic, which means it could be the PlayStation, it could be PC, it could be the Meta Quest, just by itself.
Okay.
And the titles that we have are Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse, however you pronounce that. And I recognize a few of these because I know that you've played a bunch of them. I think, in fact, all but one. Is that right?
I own all but one. I don't own Resident Evil, but I have played it.
Oh, we played the demo, didn't we?
Played the demo, yeah. So, so Gran Turismo 7, that's got to be a strong contender. I mean, that was literally selling PSVR 2s at the point at which that mode was added to the mainline game. People were buying it just to experience that. So, but for me, best VR, what does that mean? Because you're playing Gran Turismo 7 with a controller or a steering wheel like you would if you took the headset off. So really, the VR element of that game is simply moving you into a 360 environment, which I'm not saying isn't really cool.
Yeah.
But is that the best VR experience? Because it doesn't really use motion controls. It doesn't really use the environment around you. It kind of boxes you into a seat and gives you a very good, but ultimately restricted driving experience that, like I said, you could experience by just taking the headset off and you get most of the same experience. Horizon Call of the Mountain is a fantastic tech demo. It's very pretty. Gameplay's a little samey. It's a little bit boring after a while. It's, like I said, very pretty to look at. It's the sort of thing that your friend comes over and you want to make them feel guilty, or not guilty, jealous, sorry, of your purchase.
Like when you made me play it.
Yeah, you whack that on. Well, at the time I didn't know how little I was going to use it. You whack that on and you go, hey, look how good this is. And they go, wow.
Yeah.
But I think the gameplay does get a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
It's a lot of climbing and not a lot of what I want from Aloy, which is, or not Aloy, 'cause you don't play as Aloy, but Horizon, to me, is bow and arrows, take down dinosaurs. You don't do a lot of that in this game. You spend more time climbing. Humanity is really cool. I'm a bit surprised that's on here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's
bit of an indie game,
visually,
right?
I don't know its background. It certainly looks and feels like one. It's very pretty. I would say it's a slightly depressing version of Lemmings.
Yeah.
Which is you basically just guiding these humans around a fairly weird, slightly futuristic, slightly depressing environment where you have to kind of get these humans from one side of the map to the other. It's good fun and it's quite relaxing. The puzzle solving's good. It's pretty easy on you from a VR experience. There's no motion stuff to worry about. But for me, maybe not. Res Evil 7?
Yeah.
I mean, is it 7 or is it 8 or 7? 8.
Oh,
8,
good question.
It's the madam, isn't it? So it's 8. It's a really tall lady that everyone swooned over when she came out.
Swooned is definitely a better word than what I was thinking.
Better word than I'm just trying to be family friendly. So I have not played much other than what I saw you play of Res Evil 8. So you might be better one talking about this.
It was a very good demo of the game, and I can see it being really quite fun to play all the way through. Although, I think I would have to do something about the motion sickness. I did as much as I could, but I mean, we did play it for a long time, didn't I? When I had it on my
yeah,
I must have been playing it for about an hour.
Any of the other games, I think so. Yeah.
Really good game, and I can see how you could really get into it as well. Yeah, I mean, I've played a few of these, just when I was over yours. I do think that one was probably the most immersive and the most interactive, and graphically quite amazing as well. But it's a horror game, so I wonder how much it's going to be Marmite with people, isn't it? It's going to be people either really like it or
it will. I guess it's the jury ultimately that will make most of the decision. But yeah, will it get? But it's also mainstream, like Gran Turismo and Res Evil 7. Those kind of games. If you're voting on this stuff and you don't really know, like us, maybe you haven't played them. You go, I know Gran Turismo, or I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I'll choose Resident Evil just because I'm a fan. The one I'm gonna throw down for, so this is my prediction, is Synapse.
Really?
Yeah. Because Synapse is obviously a dedicated VR game. I think it's cross-platform. I think it's now on. I think it might be on Quest. I might have that wrong. But I've got that. I've played it. It's in terms of making you feel like a badass and giving you the feeling of something you couldn't have anywhere else. But in VR, I think Synapse wins. So Synapse is a combination of kind of shooting and psychic powers.
Yeah.
So you're able to use one hand, a bit like Magneto, to kind of just pick up an object and then fling it around the map, or pull things to you, pull things down on people. You're controlling things with the power of your mind, sort of, although it's all done through your hand. And then the other hand, you're picking up your weapons, you're reloading your ammo, you're shooting people. It's heavily stylized, but it's pretty cool as well. I really liked it. The story was compelling, even though, again, just because of my motion sickness, I didn't get too far through it. I may have done a good 90 minutes in that one, I think. But for me, it gives you something that you can only experience in VR. Whereas I can play Resident Evil 8 and be terrified in front of a flat screen. Same with Gran Turismo. The climbing in Horizon was repetitive. There are other climbing games. If I want to go and climb, I wanted more Horizon Zero Dawn, less Horizon Climb.
Yeah,
Dawn.
I did hear that, and I did play it, actually.
Humanity was well received, very well reviewed. Again, you can play that without VR, and I don't think the experience is that much diminished. So there's only 2 of those that are pure VR experiences.
That's a good point.
and also most of them are PlayStation or PlayStation exclusive, I would go Synapse. That's just my choice.
You think
What do you think? Where do you go?
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder whether that would be like not in the favor of the game if they were, say, a normal game first that are now kind of transitioned to the VR mode. The Gran Turismo and Resident Evil being games before they were VR games. I think that probably won't play very well in their favor. But I agree. Playing Horizon Call of the Mountain North, at least seeing you play it, and the feedback generally about it being quite monotonous climbing is basically what I've heard. I don't think it's something that should win, but I actually think it's probably something that's going to win. I think Horizon Call of the Mountain is going to win.
Interesting.
Because of the tech demo stuff. I think it's visually incredible and was touted as one of the big leap forwards in the VR game space because of the performance that you can get in the game and the visual fidelity and all of that. Whether the gameplay is any good or not, I personally don't think it is, but I don't know. It's one of these things that it looks so good and it was such an industry kind of impacting thing that it might win just based on that. I would like Resident Evil to win. I think that's definitely my favorite from the list here.
We are truly split here then, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because my other thought would be maybe Gran Turismo, even though I said everything I said about it.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was just going to say, just on the subject of VR, I don't know if you've seen recently, there's a number of VR YouTubers who have been playing the latest patch version of Cyberpunk. I went dead for a moment then.
Oh, okay.
Cyberpunk, the latest 2.0 patch with the new DLC, and there's like a whole mod community around that so you can mod it into VR. And on these high-powered, like 4090s, it looks incredible. Like it just looks ridiculously immersive to play Cyberpunk in full VR. I can imagine that's a hell of an experience.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we're split on this one. So I'm going Synapse. You're saying Call of the Mountain with a preference for Resident Evil.
Yes, yeah. I just think that it's going to win. Unfortunately. I only say unfortunately because I wasn't a fan of the game, but there you go.
Okie doke. Let's move on then.
Next category. Shall we go best fighting next? So we love a fighting game between us. I think I love Tekken. Back in the day, I used to play a lot of Tekken, but also a lot of Mortal Kombat as well. And you love your Street Fighter and what's the Nintendo one?
Smash
Brothers.
Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, any of the above.
Yeah. What's interesting about Smash Brothers is over the last couple of years, there's been kind of themed versions of them that have cropped up, both on PC and on console. And one of them is actually on this list here, but we'll get to that in a second. So, best fighting. And the category is described as for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. And on the list we have God of Rock. Can't say I've heard of that one actually.
No.
Mortal Kombat 1. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which is the brawler game I was mentioning before. We've got Pocket Bravery and Street Fighter 6. And now I don't want you to get triggered when we say Street Fighter 6 there. Because I remember the little rant you had in one of our previous episodes. But
you're going to never let me live that down, are you?
No. Well, you made a point of, you carved out a section of our podcast specifically on Street Fighter 6. So.
Well, to be fair, that's not to moan about the gameplay.
No.
It was all the other crap that went into getting into the game in the first place. So the fighting was all right. I haven't put it back on since. How much of that is the other part of the experience? I don't know. So I'm a bit limited here in terms of experience. I've only actually played 2 of these. However, I think one of those 2 is probably going to win. So I have not played the first one. Did you say God of Rock?
God of Rock, yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Yep, never heard of that one. Mortal Kombat 1, I have recently bought and played. Really enjoying the story mode on that. It's incredibly deep. Lots of cutscenes and very little to do between times, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's like a Mortal Kombat movie, but like decent. The Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2 I never played the first or the second, although I have heard that both were good. The second is apparently better. It's been very well reviewed. So that could be in there, but it does feel like a little bit of a rip-off of Smash Brothers, but you know, it is what it is. Mascot Brawler, isn't it? The fourth one, what was the name of the fourth one again?
Pocket Bravery.
I've never heard of that. Not one I'm familiar with, and Street Fighter 6, as I said before, I do own.
Yeah.
But for my money, it's Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah. Was it really that good? The cutscenes and everything?
I've really enjoyed it so far. The combat's great. The fatalities are ridiculous. The story is interesting. I mean, I must admit, I think it was Mortal Kombat 10 or 11 I played, and I quite like the story mode in that one as well. But this one's basically based around the premise that Kung Lao? No. Which is the one that wins, that usually is the sort of main star of the movie?
I can't remember.
Kung Lao's the guy with the razor hat, isn't it?
I can't remember.
Shang
Is that not
Tsung's
Raiden?
the bad guy. No, Raiden's the electric guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, the guy who's on the cover, whoever he is, he's usually a good guy.
Luke
I think
Kang.
he might still be a good guy. Liu Kang. Yes, well done. So Liu Kang, having won a previous tournament, has basically used godlike powers to reset the world. And in process of doing that, people's backstories have changed a little bit. And Shang Tsung has been basically heavily hindered by Liu Kang's choices to try and basically sort of squash and quell the likelihood of Shang Tsung, you know, in the new world rising up and becoming what he was in the previous, and basically trying to prevent that problem. I guess it's a bit like the equivalent of trying to bury Hitler and prevent World War II. You know, it's that kind of, if we go back in time and change his growing up and keep him at a disadvantage, he would never have become what he became. And it's the same principle here.
Interesting.
So only it starts to unravel when the Outworlders start trying to meddle and this maybe create an imbalance in the Nether Realms. It's really interesting.
That does actually sound really good. They've always got a good storyline, I think, Mortal Kombat. Did you ever watch the films? The films are a bit naff, but I love the stories.
I don't mind the films. Yeah, I quite like them. Have you seen the most recent one?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's okay. It got better reviews than I felt it landed when I watched it.
Oh, fair.
It was all right.
I like a bunch of the fan fiction ones on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen those, but they're really, really good.
No, I've never watched those.
They're really good. We'll digress a little bit, but yeah, interesting. So Mortal Kombat is your favorite on the list, and actually, you're talking about the cutscenes. It's one of the things that was one of my gripes, I think, of Mortal Kombat 11, was there was very little action, a lot of cutscenes and stories.
I think if you're playing the story mode, that's a very fair criticism, because I've sat there for quite a while going, this is interesting. When am I going to fight?
And they try to keep you engaged by asking you to hammer square for no reason, really.
Oh, no, there was none of that I've experienced. It's pure cinematics.
Oh, interesting.
And it's well done. I mean, the gameplay is the gameplay, isn't it? Like, if you've played the fighting, the actual combat, then, excuse me, then the combat will be just as good. You know, I would love to sit down and play some multiplayer. You know, it'd be great fun to do that. You know, could a couch co-op. But yeah, the combat feels great. The gameplay looks good graphically, and like I say, the story so far is really interesting. So I've been very happy with that purchase. Unlike Street Fighter, which I am less than satisfied with.
I wonder if they'll take into account in the voting how difficult it is to get started.
The installation process. We've ranked this one low due to the rant that we heard from this guy called Jay.
Yeah,
on
tech
a podcast.
influencer, gaming influencer, Jay. And then the Nickelodeon. So I'm basically I don't know much about God of Rock or Pocket Bravery. So I'm in the same boat in that I've only really heard of Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, and the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. There's a similar game you can get on PC called, I think it's called Multiverse, Warner Brothers Multiverse. You seen that one? Multiverse Brawl?
I think that's been discontinued now, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Didn't they take that down?
Oh, interesting.
I thought they had. I know what you're on about. There's been a couple of, I remember way back when PlayStation did PlayStation All-Stars as well.
Oh, okay.
To try and muscle in with their mascots, but it never took off.
Yeah. Which, I suppose is kind of each industry's version of Smash Bros. It's become a genre rather than actually copyright, I guess.
Like I said, when I'm picking Mortal Kombat here, it's based on the fact that I haven't played 3 out of these 5. So I'm picking it on the 2 that I have played, and a mixture of kind of just the recognition of that brand. I wouldn't be hugely surprised, though, if the Nickelodeon Brawl takes it, because I know it has been reviewed well.
And player base as well.
Mortal Kombat's... Yeah, I just wonder the Mortal Kombat might just be one of those that maybe tickles a few nostalgia strings for that jury. I don't know.
Yeah, and it does sound like a good storyline. I think my vote is also with Mortal Kombat 1. I love the series as well. So yeah, both of us aligned on this one. There you go.
Good stuff. I mean, we're probably wrong, but at least we can agree.
Probably. It's probably God of Rock or Pocket Bravery. It'll undoubtedly be the ones that we haven't heard of.
I'm going to check them out after this just to see what they look like and what they are, and then I'll come back and go, God damn it.
Okay, next category. We're going to go best multiplayer.
Ooh,
and there's a few here that we've already seen before in other categories. But the definition is for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massive multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. So it's platform agnostic again, and seemingly genre agnostic. And you can see that in the titles that are listed because they are very different genres. So I'll list them out. So the first one is Baldur's Gate 3. We've seen that before. We've got Diablo 4. We've got Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So Street Fighters and Super Mario Bros. Again, referencing earlier categories. So yeah, what do you make of this list? It's quite a mix. The one that there's two, I suppose, that stick out is the Party Animals and Super Mario Bros. Because they are much more family orientated and, seemingly anyway. I haven't actually played Party Animals, but it looks much more kiddified and animated.
I got very close to playing it about a week ago. I downloaded it, but
really?
I've not ended up starting. Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Ah.
So Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, we've touched on. It's going to win a lot of awards.
It is.
Don't know much about the multiplayer. I assume the full campaign can be played in multiplayer?
Yeah, so I think you can actually do like a couch co-op on PS5. I've got a couple of friends who've done that. So I wonder if that's what it means.
Yeah, it does say online multiplayer though. It doesn't mention local, does it?
It does. Yeah, I don't know actually.
To specify online multiplayer. So that's why I was questioning, it must be online multiplayer, or it wouldn't have made it into the rankings, presumably. But I would have thought that's got to be up there. I don't know much about Diablo 4. I know it went down well.
Well, actually, I heard that there was a few controversies on its initial release, but they did a patch recently that has fixed a lot of stuff.
There always are with that series, aren't they? Diablo 3 had all sorts of problems. So I can't really comment on Diablo 4. Party Animals, I think, looks like genuinely good fun. It looks a little bit like Gang Beasts, if you've ever played Gang Beasts. I love Gang Beasts. It's kind of a physics-based gameplay with cuddly-looking characters. Like there's a corgi, and then there's the alligator, then and stuff like that. I don't know much about it, so I can't comment, and I therefore probably wouldn't be able to sit there and willingly say that's a winner. Street Fighter 6, maybe someone like the Hub World that I hated.
I suppose, the Hub World will be the main kind of massive online.
Gives you kind of a community space as well as the combat side.
Yeah, just beating up random strangers all over the place. Right.
Mario Wonder, I didn't think that had online. I thought that was just local, but maybe it does have online multiplayer.
That's a good question.
It's a weird one because I've seen conflicting reviews on the multiplayer experience with Mario Wonder. Some saying it's worse than previous 2D Mario games, others saying it's been improved. From what I've played with the kids, and it's quite good fun. It's quite family friendly. I don't know how that experience would work online. If it can be played, it must be played online based on the criteria. I've got to lean towards Baldur's Gate.
I was thinking
if that full experience is playable online.
Yeah. I think Baldur's Gate's going to clear up a lot of these, to be honest. But my vote is also for Baldur's Gate on this one.
I don't know if we picked best RPG as a category, but you can almost guarantee that that's going to be Baldur's Gate before we even look at the games. And so are we agreeing here? We think best multiplayer is probably going to go. I'm torn between that and Super Mario Wonder. I could see Mario Wonder. I could see Mario Wonder picking that up because I don't think it'll win other categories. There's part of me that wonders, will the juries kind of lean towards it and go, this is the one we can give. We can give this one to Mario.
I don't know if that's how they balance it, really.
I mean, maybe not consciously, but there's probably part of them that looks across the board and goes, Mario or Spider-Man have come up close here, but they've not quite made it. Oh, this category, we can give them. But then Game of the Year goes somewhere else.
We'll leave them out of this.
Exactly. Yeah, it might be. I know that Elden Ring, the year that cleaned up, there was a couple of the games that picked up things in the category that you might otherwise have expected would have gone to Elden Ring just based on how the award show had gone to that point. And there was one night where I think God of War got loads of stuff and then something else won Game of the Year. That might have been Elden Ring. I get confused.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I'm just to be different, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Mario Wonder.
Okay.
I'm going to change.
I'm still sticking with Baldur's Gate 3. I can't see it not winning. But
that's fair.
You never know.
I agree. I'm just...
Party Animals does sound like fun, though. I'd quite like to play that.
I'm surprised it's even in there, because I've not heard it talked about much. But it's nice to see it there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's an Xbox exclusive. It's definitely one of the few Xbox games you can play in these lists. Again, Diablo 4 and Street Fighter, I think, are both Xbox, though. So a little fairer for those in the green camp.
Next category, then, we've got Best Ongoing.
This is an interesting one, isn't it?
It is an interesting one. So this is defined as awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. And there'll be no surprises what that's leaning to. These kind of games that release seasons all the time, new seasons of that particular game, or new patches or expansions. And those kind of games, I think, are the ones that are on the list. So I'll read them out. We've got Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
Can you just read that description one more time?
Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time.
Interesting.
Not a fan of that definition.
No, I just wanted to think it through in my head because, so thinking Cyberpunk, for example, obviously really awful start to life. They turned it around. It sort of found its way back into people's hearts, and then apparently the latest update, which the name is Liberty something, but my brain wants to go Liberty City, and I know that's wrong.
No.
But the that new expansion apparently is really good. I'm pretty sure they've said though they're not doing any more. And that was the last expansion for 2077 before they go off to work on a sequel.
I suppose do you think that's why it shouldn't be in this category? I suppose it's
because it's not had ongoing support. It's been fixed because it was fundamentally broken when it came out. And the only thing that I'm aware of they've really added that was significant is this most recent patch, or this recent DLC
expansion. Yeah.
So within this year, yes, they've added, by what people are saying, a really great DLC. They also did this. They said that version 2 patch fundamentally changed a lot about the skill tree system and the way that the game, your game character is developed. So maybe that's been considered, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like an ongoing game. It feels like a game that got an update this year and has had ongoing support to patch it and fix it, but it's not added lots and lots of content on a regular basis. So that's why I'm leaning towards something more like, and again, I don't think Final Fantasy's had that either. I'm leaning more towards a Fortnite or a Genshin Impact. Yeah,
the two that do stick out on this list are Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy, and it's just because they're the games that I guess have got updates over time. The kind of game that I would imagine that would be in this category are things like GTA 5, where there's constant updates, and also Destiny,
Call of Duty Warzone or something. Yeah,
these
Warzone, games that I mean, I'm not saying I like those games, but something that it is evolving in its own right as an online presence is you go back to over and over for a reason other than just to repeat the game. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Fortnite feels like it might be the obvious one here because they do so much to innovate, and they've added all that custom building stuff recently. They've expanded the worlds. They're doing concerts, loads of celebrity skins and stuff now. Genshin Impact, though, I've never played, but I hear good things about.
Is Genshin Impact mobile only?
No, it's on everything.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, right. It's on everything.
I know you can get it on your phone.
Runs on Switch and all sorts.
Oh.
I would probably go Fortnite if it was me. I know you're a big fan of Apex, though, so I don't know if
I
there's
am a big fan of Apex.
counter argument for Apex.
I don't think it quite has the community or the I don't think out of the two of them, Fortnite is probably going to win. If it's the two kind of battle royale, kind of cartoony almost style, I think Fortnite's going to win. I do really love Apex, but I just know that they're probably not going to win. But to be honest, if I wanted something to win, I really like the comeback story of Cyberpunk winning this. I think that's such a cool, it was so heavily criticized when it was released. There was so many issues. And now they've got to the point where they've released this expansion. They've done all these patches. And it not only is a playable game, but I remember seeing when the expansion was released, which has Idris Elba in, by the way, which is pretty cool. It was described as the best expansion. Is expansion the right word, or is it DLC? The best DLC in any game ever is what it was described as. Yeah, it was really, really heavily praised.
Like I said, you might be right. It may well be the way the category goes. It just feels like it doesn't quite fit the description to me.
I get that. That would be my only issue with it.
Shoehorned in a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it's been picked by outlets and influencers and stuff. So I don't know, an interpretation of the category description, I suppose. But I would agree. I mean, I think if Cyberpunk's a legitimate contender for that description, and they put it in there, so maybe it is, it certainly feels like the biggest and best game in that list for standalone experience. Yeah. But then Fortnite's just so persistent, isn't it? It's just been.
It is, and
they change doing new things and
all
keep
the
changing.
Time, don't they? New seasons.
Yeah,
new
just
characters.
Come back to the classic maps, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's getting. If you're going to sit there and go, which ones are getting the most consistent and high quality support, probably Fortnite. But yeah,
that's true.
I'd be happy with either, to be honest. And I do like the idea of Cyberpunk.
Evolve's player experience just makes me think of Fortnite. They just do so much to keep it interesting for the players. So I agree. I would love to see Cyberpunk win though. So because they love an underdog. There you go.
But if you think about it, it was only this year, wasn't it, that Fortnite released the custom skin stuff that we talked about this year earlier in the episode. Sorry, but we also, if you remember, we played a handful of those experiences. One of them was like a Call of Duty style skin that took the Fortnite gameplay and made it look and feel like a Call of Duty game.
That was
just
weird. Stuff
like that was, if you're talking about evolving an experience, that to me is a huge kind of add-on with all that customization that they've now built into that engine.
Nothing else they're experimenting,
developing
right?
that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Best ongoing. We both think it's Fortnite, but my preference would be Cyberpunk because I love it.
I wonder if Cyberpunk pops up anywhere else that might warrant because there's action games and action adventure, and I wonder if it comes under any of those, or even RPG, although that's going to be a hard one to argue against Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, true. Well, we may have to rapidly go through these as we're up against time, but we'll go best action game next. And definition of this category is for the best game in action genre focused primarily on combat. So it's as described, really. And we have Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. That's all one title. It's a very long title. We've got Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
Limited experience here. So the Armored Core game is by the same people who make Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
That was.
Yes, it's the mech Dark Souls, right?
Yeah. So it was reasonably well received. Yeah. Dead Island, I don't remember hearing a huge amount about.
Yeah, for a series that's actually quite popular, I'm surprised I didn't hear much about that one.
Ghost Runner 2, another one that I don't think I heard a huge amount about, even the first one. Hi-Fi Rush is an Xbox exclusive.
Look at that. Eat your words.
I know. And I think that one could be the winner.
Yeah.
It's got a really impressive art style. People really liked it. It was well received when it kind of surprise dropped earlier in the year. I wouldn't be surprised if that one wins. But if I'm honest, it's the only one I really know enough about to comment on. Maybe that or Armored Core could be in with a shout.
Yeah.
But I think Hi-Fi Rush was more universally well received. I remember seeing a lot more activity from influencers on Twitter who were enjoying it when it came out. A lot of them completed it. Really enjoyed the experience. It's music based as well, so
cool.
Quite a clever game. So I would say Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, I like the art style. It's almost like comic book style. Yeah, it looks like a cool game. I don't know anything about it, and I have limited knowledge on pretty much all of these games. But
I'm slightly surprised not to see things like Spider-Man in here. What does Spider-Man get grouped under then? Is that action adventure?
it might be RPG.
Spider-Man's not an RPG. Really? Well, let's have a look. Let's see.
You might
Did we have action adventure as well? Did we pull that one out?
Action adventure, I don't think was one, was it?
Yeah, that's a separate category in its own right.
Oh.
I think it would be worth a quick look, just because I'm blown away that Spider-Man's not an action game. I mean, it's all about swinging, combat, chasing.
Oh, yeah, so it is.
High action. Unless it's
Sneaky
in action
peeking.
adventure.
There you go.
There we go.
Action
wow,
adventure.
That's a much more competitive category.
Ooh, yeah, look at that. Well, we'll quickly give our vote
Jesus.
for this one, which you've gone for Hi-Fi Rush. I think Armored Core 6 is going to be the winner for that one, just because everyone loves a Souls game. And mechs.
Wasn't universally well received.
I'm still going to. Okay.
This is a tough one. Jesus.
So best action adventure. And God, there's some really good games in here, but let me define it for you first. So for the best action adventure game combining combat and traversal and puzzle solving, with traversal and puzzle solving. God, butchered that. So we have Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Some strong games in there.
Isn't it crazy to think in a year that's had Resident Evil 4 remake come out and be so universally well received, and a really good Star Wars game, that's the first time this recording that we've seen them.
Yeah, true.
That's telling. I have not played Resident Evil 4 remake. I've got it. I haven't played it yet, and I haven't played the Jedi Survivor, but I really enjoyed the first one. I can't see, based on solely on the description, anything other than Legend of Zelda winning this.
Really?
Yeah. Because if you read the description again, he talks about traversal and puzzle solving. Zelda, that's what it did over Breath of the Wild. It upped the game on puzzle solving, creative freedom in how you approach the challenges, and traversal, with things like being able to build, drop through, and transcend through platforms. And I just think that, I mean, it would be either that or Spider-Man for me. But if I'm going purely on the description, Spider-Man hasn't got much in the way of puzzle solving. It's got amazing traversal.
True.
But I would go for the sort of dream combo in that description. I think Zelda.
I'm going to actually go for Resident Evil 4. I have played that one. And it's probably because it's one of the only ones on the list that I have played. But there's quite a lot in there that's puzzly. Traversal.
Kind of slow.
There's lots of different maps. There is elements of traversalism.
I don't know if I class Resident Evil 4 as an action game.
Action?
To me, it's a horror game. This is action adventure.
Yeah, there's tons of action.
Game. Yeah, but it's not. It's a horror game.
Yeah. Is that a category, though? Horror game?
I don't know. I mean, Alan Wake 2 also, you could argue, falls into that list.
I don't think horror is a category this year.
I'm not sure it's ever been a category.
Well, there you go.
I'm just saying, I don't know. For me, I think Zelda.
All right.
So
cool.
We'll split again.
We'll split on this one. Fair enough.
Okay.
Right. Next category. We'll go with the best RPG, which is another big one.
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
So,
okay. So the definition is for best
category.
RPG. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences.
I mean, they've basically written the description for Baldur's Gate, haven't they?
Well, most RPGs like that, right?
Yeah, but go on.
So we've got Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. Starfield is on the list. Look at that. Another Xbox exclusive.
Yeah. Oh, it was the game of the year I said I hadn't got any
Xbox
exclusive, but there were very few scattered throughout the whole awards. So, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win.
Yeah.
There's no way around. People have literally said it's the best RPG ever made.
Yeah.
How can it not win? But having said that, let's be fair. Final Fantasy 16 didn't land that well. I think everyone said it was good, but, okay, not the best Final Fantasy. If you're not better than your peers, and or better than your previous game, then you're not going to win the best in your category. Lies of P, I think, was fairly well received, and that's got a horror-y vibe, if I'm right. Never played it, can't comment. Sea of Stars, can't comment. Starfield, boring. I managed about an hour and a half of that and just thought, no, I'm never coming back to this.
Mixed feelings for people, I think, who got that game.
I'm sure Starfield in another year would have performed better than it has this year. When you look at the other stuff that's come out, it's just got drowned.
It has.
It's a shame because it's been in development for so long. But when you compare it to the other stuff around it, I just can't see Baldur's Gate not winning this.
Yeah, it has suffered from unfortunate timing, hasn't it?
Mm.
Well, there you go. Well, that was actually quicker than we thought.
Can you see anything else?
No, I do think Baldur's Gate's going to win. Everyone I've spoken to, in fact, I haven't spoken to anyone who dislikes it. I haven't seen any publications that are that critical of it. So, yeah,
it's one of the highest scoring games ever made, isn't it? It's up there now on Metacritic.
I remember when we did our Metacritic review, like the week after we published our episode, Baldur's Gate was all of a sudden in the top 50.
It's always the way, isn't it? We're cursed.
Yeah, we are.
So have we got any of the categories that we'd selected, or was it just Game of the Year left to debate?
There's a couple that we were looking at, but in the interest of time, I think we'll go straight to Game of the Year.
Okay.
So this is the big one. Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Okay, so in the list we have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's a strong list this year, isn't it? That's crazy. Yeah. Strong list.
When you think about some of the games we've talked about that aren't in here,
that
in itself makes, when you consider what we were just saying, obviously Starfield, which, for all our jokes, it was reasonably well received. A lot of people did really like it. It's the Jedi Survivor game. Again, that was well received.
That was really good.
Nowhere near it. And it's 6 instead of the 5, which means they obviously had a tie in the original voting. So there's more here than there would normally be.
That's a good point. I wonder if it was tied between...
No Xbox. So Alan Wake 2, I think you can play on Xbox. Baldur's Gate will be coming. Spider-Man will never. Res Evil 4 is on Xbox. And then obviously the 2 Nintendo games never will be. So a bit of a sore one if you're a Nintendo fan. An Xbox fan. Probably better if you're a Sony fan.
Yeah.
Especially given I think the winner will be Baldur's Gate, and therefore that is the only game that you could have played on PlayStation's the only place you could have played that game on a console.
Yes.
So,
you can play it on PC, can't you? But
so I think I'm assuming Alan Wake 2's PC. Spider-Man 2 won't be, but it probably will be in the future. I don't know about Resident Evil Remake. I'm guessing that's on PC. Baldur's Gate 100%
I thought that was on everything.
Yeah, it might well be. And then obviously the Nintendo games, again, will never come to PC. So anyway. So what do you think on this one? This is a tough one.
It is a tough one.
You'd be upset if you were any of those games.
You would.
Should we even attempt to reverse rank them? What would be your bottom of the pile?
Okay.
What would you put at the bottom?
Oh, see, I'm going to have to do this personally just because of my preference, I think, or lack of knowledge of the game. I'm probably going to put both the Nintendo ones at the bottom, to be honest. For me.
Wow. I know you've got a vendetta against Mario.
I don't. It's never really been in my kind of list of games to play. I've not really delved into the Nintendo consoles, so yeah, I'm a bit lost. And because it's such a walled garden with the Nintendo stuff, I haven't really had an opportunity to play them. So yeah, for me, they're pretty down on the list, unfortunately. I'll probably put Alan Wake next, although I haven't played it. It's my kind of game. I do like that kind of game. Then I think Resident Evil 4 will be third. And then it's between Spider-Man and Baldur's Gate, isn't it? I think Baldur's Gate's going to win and Spider-Man's going to be second. Oh, but it's close.
I think Spider-Man's getting edged out across the board.
You think?
I do. I think they're going to be really unlucky this year. I would probably go Res Evil 4 at the bottom. This is not my personal choice. This is me guessing, not voting. Not that we'll get told this. I think Res Evil 4 was well received, but I don't think it did enough. Because obviously it's a remake, it's very much treading old ground. So it's taken
True.
the original game people already knew and putting a polish on it. So it's not a new experience. So I feel like people might be a bit less inclined to vote for it.
True.
I think then probably one of the Nintendo games, so possibly Mario would probably go next.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's difficult. Maybe Zelda. Oh, excuse me. Maybe Zelda, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man, and Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, I think, will win Game of the Year.
You think Spider-Man second as well?
Yeah, I do. I think we're slightly off on the top three, but between us. But I would go Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man, Alan Wake, Zelda, Mario, Res Evil.
Fair.
Is that what I said? I think that's what I said.
I think so. Yeah. we'll go back. We'll have a look.
Either way, I'm pretty confident Baldur's Gate's going to win Game of the Year.
Yeah. It's got to. The amount of positive press that it got is crazy. Wow. Well, there you go. That's all the games. There's tons more categories. I would highly recommend checking them out on the website. If you're interested in seeing the other categories, but that's Game of the Year.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I think it's the 7th or the 8th of December, depending on what time of night you choose to watch it. If you're in the UK, it's on incredibly late. We'll see how we get on. One to look forward to. I'm always interested. The other thing we haven't talked about, which we probably should just quickly touch on, is one of the highly anticipated, highly likely revelations in the show is Grand Theft Auto 6's trailer. So
is that
Rockstar have confirmed there is going to be a trailer in December, and they're on the advisory board for the Game Awards.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so there might be the release of the trailer on the event. And
they do like Jeff Keighley likes to get game reveals to go in with the awards. That's the main reason a lot of people watch it. Pretty sure, wasn't it Nick Cage's reveal was at the Game Awards, or was that at one of the? No, that was at Jeff Keighley's Gamescom style thing, wasn't it? But yeah, they like to reveal things at the Game Awards. So I think the biggest thing to probably watch for, or just get up and look for in the morning, is the almost inevitable Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer that's going to be played, I think, at the end of the Game Awards.
Exciting.
There you go. So, as always, we've likely blown through our time there, as common practice on Generations Apart. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and all good podcast services so you don't miss an episode. And we will see you next time.